And welcome. Oh, there we go. Sorry, I started my intro too early. The joys of being live. Hi, welcome to G.E.L podcast. My name is Ray Emling. These are my two associates, guys. Welcome. How are you doing today?
I'm fine.
Yeah.
The orb has spoken.
See, these guys, what you guys don't get to see is you don't get to see, before we go live, how much these guys double team me and give me crap about my choices for our top 10 list we're doing today. You don't get to see that
live
part.
anyways.
You do it live most of the time, but
Ray's on his man period.
No, I'm getting real sick and tired of you guys. You know what? We're disbanding. This is it. Episode over. Just just go
That
on.
happened last episode.
Am I still getting paid?
Yes.
Okay.
Wait.
I'm good.
Wait, what?
I'm
Who's
paying
you?
Oh, good.
Wait.
The orb has spoken.
No, Matt's paying you, but who's paying me?
Nobody.
You
You're
never
doing this
asked.
for free.
Too bad, man.
I quit. I'm done.
Collecting
Bye.
all the ad revenue.
Which is
Wow.
very good.
You know what?
Business is booming.
I'm gonna quit. I'm done. This will be G.E.L podcast now.
G.E.L.
Awesome.
No,
G.E.L.
G.E.L.
G.E.L. Goal.
G.E.L.
G.E.L. I like that better.
Anyway. All right, guys. So this is G.E.L podcast episode 13, and today we're gonna do a top 10 list because everyone loves top 10 lists. They're the greatest thing ever. So our top 10 list today is top 10, top 5 list from the years 2005 to 2010.
What?
Exactly. I was waiting for the reaction there.
From the viewers. Someone's going to mail you a letter in like 3 weeks. Be like, what?
Yeah, exactly.
Delayed.
No, our top 10 list today is top 10 hardest bosses and hardest video games. Now, all these, this entire list is personal preference. There's going to be a lot of choices that we did based on our own personalities, not necessarily like, for example, I chose a couple games that these two gave me a lot of crap about, but to me they were hard. So
and we'll continue to give crap about.
Hey, guess what? Go. Okay. Anyway, live. Yeah. Anyway, so basically for the top 10 list, we each chose 3 of our own personal choices, and then the 10th one was kind of like an agreed upon answer. So we're going to talk about that today. So. Why don't we go ahead and jump right into it, guys? You guys want to do hardest games or hardest bosses first?
Let's do games.
I was expecting Chaz to go with bosses just to make things difficult.
I was gonna say bosses, but
No.
Okay. Yeah. All right. We'll do hardest.
I'm getting paid by Matt, so I have to go.
We're on the same page.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. The more you guys talk about getting paid, the angrier I'm just gonna get. I'm gonna storm out.
Period. Man. Period.
Wow. Okay. Anyway, so for hardest games, who wants to throw their 3 out there first? I know the number 1 answer we have. Basically, we have agreed upon. We'll talk about that one last. But who wants to give their 3 first?
Sure. I'll go.
All right. There you go. Matt's paying you for something.
That's right. So my top 3 was actually originally was Dark Souls, Cat Mario, and Ninja Gaiden Sigma. But since we all agreed on Dark Souls, I had a 4th one, which was
spoiler alert!
Unicorn.
There you go.
That's right. Yeah. So
here's all the top answers, guys.
Yeah, here it
go
is.
ahead.
So Cat Mario, Ninja Gaiden Sigma, and Robot Unicorn.
All right,
Cat Mario's made freaking hard.
I don't know what Robot Unicorn is, though. Tell me a little bit about that.
You don't know what Robot Unicorn is? It was
Adult Swim mobile game.
Yeah, it's a adult. Swim.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, or not multiplayer. It's just a game from Adult Swim, but it's
Oh, okay.
It's the fruitiest looking game you could ever play, but it's the most addicting game I think I've ever played too. The idea is you're this robot unicorn, and you're running through this. Yeah. It looks like you're running through this land of rainbows and I don't know, something that came out of a Teletubby's head, and you're running. and you have to run. It's a platformer, but it gets faster and
Yeah.
faster and faster, and you can't hit the side of a wall, or else your robot unicorn body will get smashed to pieces.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there it is, and it also has one of the most addicting songs and fruitiest songs I've ever heard too. Which probably after this podcast, I'm gonna make into my ringtone because it's
Is it worse than Nyan Cat?
it's up there. I mean, when you hear it, you're gonna think of Robot Unicorn. I think it was a perfect song, but
Okay.
it's hard, and it gets harder, and it eventually gets impossible. And I'm pretty sure the only people I've seen who are able to beat it, which is just go for like half an hour, are people who are cyborgs. So it's awesome. But Cat Mario, I haven't actually played by myself, but I've seen it on Rage Quit, and I've seen a couple other people play it, and I refuse to play it because it's like riddled by glitches, and I think that they may have been glitches in the beginning, and then the programmers were just like, let's just leave it in there and screw with the player. That's awesome.
It's just a mod, right? It's
I
like a hacked version.
Yeah, it's like a hacked version of Mario or something. So, but you're a
like,
cat.
It completely changes. Like there'll be times where like you'll jump on the ground and the ground will fall from under you. Like,
Yeah, the
it's
ground will
made
fall
to
from
kill
underneath
you.
you. Or you'll jump up, hit a block, and a star will come, which looks like a power up, and it'll fall on top of you and kill you.
Yeah.
So, which is pretty awesome. I like to watch it. Wouldn't want to play it. And then Ninja Gaiden Sigma. What the hell? Like what? No, it's literally one of the most. It gave me a headache, but I couldn't put it down because I have this personality trait where I have to like finish what I'm trying to do, and I finished one thing and it's like, oh, hard mode, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna beat hard mode. Oh, ultra hard mode. Oh, okay, gonna beat ultra hard mode. Then go yourself, and I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm not doing that. And then if you manage to get through all that, there's these challenge modes, which is actually something related to one of my top hardest bosses. And I'm pretty sure, this is not a racist thing, but I'm pretty sure it's made for Japanese people because Japanese people have this ability to see things at a rate that the rest of us can't, apparently, because the only people I've really seen who are very good at it are Japanese people, and me with my slow black guy reflexes can't match up to that, apparently.
I don't think that term has ever been said ever.
Well, in video games it's relevant, but maybe out in sports or something we can compete. But in video games it's a whole nother story, man, and it's ridiculous, but it's fun. So highly recommend it for those who want to hang themselves. If you want to kill yourself, play Ninja Gaiden first, and then go kill yourself. Give yourself a real reason to kill yourself.
Jeez.
He's like, man, it's ridiculous. It's the hardest game I've ever played. I recommend it.
Do it.
You have to recommend the hardest game you ever play so you can watch other people struggle through it.
Exactly.
You want
And
people to
laugh.
suffer.
Right.
I eat suffering for breakfast. I'm like, my suffering flakes.
All right, man. Give me your three choices and tell me a bit about them.
Oh, well, my first choice is the original Legend of Zelda game. That I played that a long time ago. I think on my Game Boy, actually, even though it's an NES game. But oh man, there's just like you don't know what you're doing. You don't know how to kill things. You don't know where to go. You kind of just wander around in these square areas, trying to kill these octopus-looking monsters that just shoot you immediately and you're dead.
Yeah.
I just had a really tough time with it. You kind of have to like draw your own map in your brain, or like actually draw your own map to get through it, or else you'll just get lost. Because everything
like my
is the
drunk
same.
weekend.
Yeah. Yeah, or else you'll just get lost and be wandering around and finally find like the one cave you're supposed to go in, and then like continue on.
It doesn't help that Link is a mute, so he goes up to people trying to get direction. He's just like,
Right, you kind of just wave your sword around, and then people get flustered and like throw stuff at you.
You know what that reminds me of? It reminds me of a drunk foreign dude in another country. Like, you can't really communicate with people, and you're drunk, so people don't really want to touch you. So,
Right.
yeah.
People are just looking at Link like, what's wrong with this kid? Why doesn't he talk? Wait, has he got a sword? Who let that kid have a sword? Who gave that 9-year-old a sword and a shield?
Except since he's like so young and also wearing a skirt all the time, they probably just think he's a little girl with a sword. So it's not quite as threatening, but it's also really weird.
Yeah.
Oh, that's adorable. Why she got a sword though?
Slice, slice, slice.
Wait, did that little kid just break all my pots and steal my money?
But if you had full health, you could like shoot a beam with your sword, like shoot projectiles. So
that doesn't make any sense at all.
I know, yeah. I don't get it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I didn't get very far at all because I just got frustrated and quit because I was just a kid back then. So maybe I should pick that game up sometime
Same here.
and wander around.
You're gonna do the same thing.
Yeah, my next game is Surgeon Simulator. Came out a couple years ago, and
I don't feel like you can win that game.
No,
it's really hard. It's so frustrating. That was my experience.
For anyone who's never played it, just do this. Go home and do it. I don't recommend doing actual surgery because that would be really stupid and not safe. But
so you should do
try and do this. You should do it. Go home and try and build a model ship, but numb your hand first and just kind of try and do everything without the use of grip. And tell me how that works out for you, because that's literally what Surgeon Simulator is.
It's like doing surgery with a puppet, because like you can't grab anything really, and when you do, it's like the wrong direction. So you'll like bust open this dude's ribs, and then you can't grab any of the ribs out, so he's just like bleeding out. You have to get your hammer in there and like scrape them out, and then that makes them bleed even
slap
more.
The ribs out.
So and then you try to grab the syringe that like helps the bleeding, and you like grab it, but you just keep stabbing him because you can't like inject it into him.
Stab him right in the eye. Stab him right in the eye.
Ugh.
That's why I say you can't win it, because even when you win it, the dude still looks like he's gonna die of something in the next few days.
Yeah.
Probably.
And there's a level in it where you're in a moving ambulance, and everything is shaking around.
There's also a level where you're performing space surgery on an alien.
Yeah. I care a lot less about that alien, so I kind of just like bludgeon him with a hammer sometimes. I pretend I'm Will Smith or something.
Yeah, so I don't feel like you can win that game, and I don't feel like the patient can win either.
No, the patient never wins.
And what kind of a paramedic are you? Like, they don't strap stuff down. Yeah, but you're in the back of an ambulance, which typically surgeons aren't in the back of an ambulance, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, this one is. He's a super surgeon.
He's a super surgeon?
Yes.
Maybe he's just an amateur surgeon.
Or maybe he's just a dude who managed to knock the actual surgeon and paramedic out and use their stuff.
It's just Link. It's literally just Link.
It's always Link.
Who let this 9-year-old with a sword in here perform brain surgery?
Who's this guy again? Jesus. So what's that third game, Matt?
My third game is Double Dragon 2 for the NES. It's a game. It's one of those games that you can't save. There's like no codes either, so you can't. There's no semblance of saving or going back to checkpoints. You just have a certain amount of lives, and you have to get to the end of the game and save your girlfriend. But
I actually had Rampage on my list for a short while for that exact reason. But then I realized that Rampage wasn't actually hard gameplay. Just the fact that you couldn't save made it hard.
Yeah, it's just a long sit down.
Yeah.
But yeah, Double Dragon 2, you have lives, and the enemies are just... You have to get so close to them to like do punches and kicks and stuff, and some of them have like whips, so they have longer range than you. Like right off the bat, first level, they're actually a bunch of like giant hulking women with chain whips. It's really scary stuff.
Sounds like a great game.
Yeah, and then in the middle of the level, there's like this giant black dude who throws barrels at
Sounds
you.
like an even better game.
Sounds like a terrible game.
You can throw the barrels back, but he's just constantly throwing these barrels at you.
Is this some kind of racist connection to Donkey Kong? What
I
kind
don't
of
know,
game was
man.
this again?
Probably.
Jesus.
Probably.
I'm not okay with this.
But then, like, I could always get past the first level fine, and then you get to the next level, and there's this like helicopter taking off with your girlfriend in it or something. And then all of a sudden,
Isn't that how it always goes?
all of a sudden there's like 3 ninjas just buzzing around the screen, way too fast for you to hit them. Just some of them throw throwing stars at you too, like off screen, so they come flying into you.
'Tis the life of a ninja.
Oh!
So it just like wastes a lot of HP and lives, and if you somehow get through it, like the next portion of the game is just all platforming,
Ugh, yucky.
and that's as far as I got because I always ran out of lives. I've tried playing it multiple times. I played it when I was younger, when I was older, and it's just the same story.
You know, I really think that's the difference between older games and newer games. What made older games hard was the fact that as a hero, you were under-equipped. Like, you're this dude who's just going in, punching and kicking, ninjas and black dudes with, super strength and Amazonian women with whips. You're just punching and kicking. Nowadays, you've got all these power-ups and machine guns, and you're fighting zombies who literally just kind of walk around and try to eat your brain. Like, have you ever tried to bite a guy's brain with a machine gun? Like, it just doesn't work.
Maybe.
No.
But
It doesn't work.
that's a good point. But there are some games out there still where like they don't really have character progression. You just kind of learn the game and get better to get through the rest. Like one recently that I played is Hotline Miami 2, and the first one.
Yep.
You just kind of get better and quicker and get reflexes, and
Yeah,
you
just
somehow
practice.
struggle through the game.
My choices were the first game I have before chess. Chess has a secret to solve this game. I'm just gonna let me state my case first. I chose Last of Us because when playing Last of Us, and you're in a room with like 9 clickers.
9.
And you have 9. I'm not even kidding. Literally 9. You have no
Subway.
ammo. You have no ammo, and you have to sneak around them. It is one of the toughest games. I died like 40 times because I had no ammo. I couldn't find ammo, so like all I had with me were bottles and bricks. Now, Chaz informed me that there's a little secret about the bricks that I didn't know of. So why don't you go ahead and tell me this now that I know, and I'll go back and play it.
Bricks are the most powerful weapon in the world in this game. Like, literally, I've had a clicker running at me, and I'll pick up a brick, and I'm like, oh my god, I don't have any weapons, I don't have any guns, no bullets, and I'll pick up a brick and just bludgeon the crap out of this thing and kill it. Its head explodes, and I can't even shoot a clicker with a gun and cause the sort of damage that a brick causes.
Yeah.
Instead of throwing a brick and distracting clickers, throw a brick at a clicker, hit him in the head, and then bludgeon him to death with another brick. Like, I've literally taken down armies with bricks. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah. Didn't know that secret. See, I never even thought about doing that because I was so focused on trying to just get past them that I was throwing the bricks to distract them, then I'd sneak past them. And then, of course, every time you sneak past one, there's this other one that just happens to be on the other side of a wall.
Well, that's game mechanics for you. When you think of guns, you think of the ultimate solvable problem, but then, no one ever thinks about picking up a brick and hitting a zombie with it and killing it.
Well, that's why from now on, my home defense is a brick.
Yeah, exactly. Just
Your
a
home
brick,
defense.
a brick and a glass safe.
I have a locked brick cabinet.
With all different sorts of bricks, different colors and shapes.
Yep.
The boomerang
definitely.
brick.
Hey, it didn't come back. Oh, came back.
Yeah. It killed everything on the way there.
So that was my one. That was. I found out now. Yeah, that was what they were giving me crap crap for before we went live. I found out the hard way that I had been using bricks the entirely wrong way.
Just to let you know, too, bricks are the end-all, be-all. Bottles don't work like bricks, though. If you try to smash someone over the head with a bottle, it just piss them off.
They laugh about it. They're like, ha, 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 ha.
Should have had a brick.
Should have had a brick. So my next one is, this is very personal preference, because to most people this isn't hard. For the life of me, I cannot beat or play a racing game, and I don't know why.
Any racing game?
Any racing game. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's something with the way my brain doesn't function properly, but every time I play a racing game, I end up crashing into a wall, and I get like last place every single time.
I have an answer for that. Every time Ray and Matt and I play any sort of fighting game or shooting game, Ray, no matter what he has in his hands, wants to go up and punch whatever he's fighting. So I think that mentality still works with a car. He wants to smack into whatever he's opposing. And in a racing game, it's a racing track. So Ray wants to drive into his opposition, which is a racetrack.
And I won. I beat the racetrack, didn't I?
Literally beat it.
Yeah. I don't know what it is, though. For some reason, I cannot play a racing game. I've tried so many times, and I cannot beat it. So that was a hard one for me. And then my last game, and I don't care what Matt says. My last game is Minesweeper, because nobody knows how to play that game. No one knows how to beat it. And if they do, they're lying. They had to Google it. They looked it up. They looked up how to beat Minesweeper.
If it's on Google, then
somebody
knows.
The inventor put it on Google. That's it.
The inventor.
No one can beat Minesweeper. I don't get the rules of Minesweeper. I don't understand how to play it. I mean, I understand the rules, but it's like, hey, I didn't get blown up. Oh, I got blown up. There we go. Over. I've never gotten past like level 1 of that. I know that's not a true video game, but it's a game and it's in video form. It's not like a board game, so I'm including it on the list, and that is the hardest game I've ever played.
It wasn't a game. It was real life in the army. You're
having flashbacks. I can't win back in Nam.
I had a friend who couldn't beat it either. He died.
My friend lost his leg in Minesweeper.
That wasn't a game. That was legit.
That happened.
I want to see someone make this epic trailer. You see explosions going off in a field and these army men running past. It's the super epic trailer, and then at the end of the trailer, it just says Minesweeper.
Dudes are putting flags down, like red flags.
This is our city.
This might be a mine.
Anyway, so that's our top 10. Oh no! Forgot number 1. I forgot because Chaz already spoiled it, but our number 1 choice for hardest game was Dark Souls / Dark Souls 2. We've talked about that in depth a couple times already. I wanted to include, for my top 10 hardest bosses, I wanted to include Rat number 1 from Dark Souls, but I was told I couldn't.
It's not a boss. It's made to be beaten.
It's
made to die.
Okay, fine. Then not the Rat. Then my other choice for top 10 hardest bosses was Crestfallen Warrior.
Also not a boss.
That was an NPC.
Oh, it's not? It's not? Oh.
Just some sad guy.
You got killed by a sad guy? Like, what?
Man,
this is stupid.
I thought you were going to say the second rat.
The second rat. No, I never made it past the first rat. I didn't even know there was a second rat.
Chaz, just imagine if Ray made it to the depths.
I'm assuming there's a lot of rats.
There's rats that bust out of boxes that you can't see.
It's true. And you can get poisoned by walking through crap and get cursed.
I swear, when we get Bloodborne and if there's a rat, I'm gonna drop the controller and walk out.
It's gonna be a were-rat.
There's a lot worse things than rats.
It's gonna be a were-rat.
Not to me. The rats are the hardest thing ever. But yeah, Dark Souls and Dark Souls 2, I'd say that should be on it. And actually, it's funny, for this top 10 list, I actually did research on like hardest games ever, and Dark Souls made it on every single list.
The thing about Dark Souls is the learning curve, and once you get past that, it's really not hard to do, because once you get there, you can just like You can literally just run every stage without killing anyone.
At what point in your 2,000 plus hours did you get to that point, Matt?
I mean, I got used to like rolling and dodging probably in my second playthrough of the game.
See,
So what hour is that? Was that hour 812?
It's about hour 60.
Still, that's a lot of hours to learn
It's a lot of
how to
hours.
play the game.
I think my biggest issue was trying to find the balance between what is a good loadout for playing against the game and playing against other players, because
That does change, yeah.
you know, yeah, you can't use the same loadout playing throughout the whole game, and you can get invaded, and all of a sudden I go, oh, let me put my other armor on, you know. So I had problems with that, and then like I'm getting close to the end of the level, and then some douchebag wants to invade my level, and I gotta fight him, and I'm already low on equipment, and it's just it's a kind of a pain in the butt.
What I didn't like about Dark Souls really is the thing that I thought was hardest was they don't explain anything really. Like you're literally thrown into a game, into a world that you don't know what you're doing, and like first of all, there's a boss fight like 5 minutes into the game. That's ridiculous. That's just like I'm okay with a game being complicated and hard. I'm up to a challenge. But if I've never played the game before, I would at least like to know what I'm doing before I get thrown into a boss fight.
That's what all the messages on the ground are for on the way.
I saw that, but like that doesn't help you. I don't expect to fight a giant ogre.
Oh, some of those messages are complete crap too. Like, oh, it's perfectly fine to jump off this cliff. Go for it, buddy.
Yeah. So yeah, some of those messages are by fans. So like a lot of the messages just say like, you want to meet hot singles in your area.
In the tutorial area, all the messages are developer messages.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant the messages that were like
No.
I'm 14 years old and looking for a girlfriend. Who wants to hang out?
I don't think you could put that message down.
I'll try.
All right, I guess. Yeah.
Oh, well, I mean, okay.
Yeah, another problem I think I had with the game. Well, no, one of the things I loved about the game is if I did get invaded or something, I would run around and try to find other messages of other players to try to get them to help me. And I think you could summon up to, what, 3 other players to help you?
Two.
So,
Yeah.
2 other players. So by the time douchebag got to me, I'd have 2 big bodyguards standing on either side of me in ghost form, like ready to kick some butt.
You're one of those guys, huh, Chaz?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like I'm not about to mess around, man. I play smart.
I feel like Matt was the douchebag because he got really offended like that. He's like, "Oh, you're the guy who does that. Oh,
No,
you're the guy.
That's when you throw on the
You're the
hornet
guy."
ring. That's when you throw on the hornet ring and just backstab the white phantoms until they're dead, and then you fuck with the host for a while.
Well, that's all right. So like while you're doing that, I just go into the boss area, and you can't follow me in.
Yeah.
I don't know what any of those things you just said, man.
I don't care about the white ghost. I hired you. You're hired hands. If you're dead, I don't have to pay you.
Yeah.
So you know.
What I don't understand is why you can't have a rat as a pet. As a bodyguard.
Want one as a pet?
Yeah, I want it as a bodyguard.
Oh, man. Well, actually, in Dark Souls 2, you can be a part of the Rat Covenant and use the rats as your friends.
That's funny.
It's really incredible. I had a lot of fun with that Covenant.
I never figured out the covenants. I think I became part of the covenant from the forest, the hunters in the forest with the big cat.
The Cat Bros?
Yeah. I don't know what they did.
You just put on the little cat ring, and you'd be summoned into someone's world to invade them if they were in the forest and not a part of that covenant, and then you just go kill them for the cat.
Oh, that's
so
how that works.
You probably never put on the ring.
Oh yeah, I didn't know what it was for.
That's the whole deal. You got to put on the ring to.
Dang! Ah man, I would have loved to kill some dudes in the forest.
Otherwise, that's like a super reliable place to get invasions and stuff.
That's good. Oh, well, too late. That's over.
Well, let's before Dark Souls creators come after us again because we keep talking about Dark Souls all the time.
I'm sure they've gotten enough flack from other people. They love it.
They know that they're hard. They're like every time a nerd says the game's hard, a Dark Souls creator gets his wings.
Giggity.
He has like 1,000
what?
of wings.
That didn't even make sense.
Made sense.
Anyway, let's go with hardest bosses. Let's get this list going. So, Chaz, I believe your choices are no, yes, Chaz's choices are first. So, Chaz, what are your top three?
My first three are first. Oh yeah, they are. Okay, so my top three again. I'm referencing Ninja Gaiden Sigma. I already went into that. The unearthed challenges. So these challenges are like you beat the game on all our hard difficulties. Great. Come on, do these challenges because you didn't get challenged enough. You want more. And so these unearthed challenges were just taking the hardest parts of the game and putting them into this big cluster crap of sandwich of hurt. I called it the sandwich of hurt because they sandwich all the crappiness together, and it hurts because you can't beat it. Of course, there's those guys.
That's a creative name you got there, buddy.
The sandwich of hurt. Sounds like an old
I call it the
torture
sandwich
device.
of hurt because they sandwich you and then they hurt you.
Reminds me of an old like medieval torture device. I don't know, the sandwich of hurt. One particular challenge, and I was trying to get through all the challenges because I'm insane. But the last challenge I think it was 3 bosses at once. We're talking 3 full lifeline, flying around at light speed, crazy giant sword wielding bosses all at the same time, attacking you at the same time.
Sounds exciting.
It was ridiculous. It was like the 4 Kings on Dark Souls, but they were a lot faster and they were made by Japanese people. So you can imagine how insanely fast and powerful they were.
I couldn't because I haven't made it that far in Dark Souls, so I couldn't imagine anything
No, you
you're
can't.
talking about.
Yeah,
no.
You're still fighting the rat. I forgot.
I am.
Oh, curse you,
One
rat!
day, Ray.
It's an eternal struggle.
One day.
I can't. There's not even a can of Raid big enough to kill you.
Dude, and that's the thing. I mean, I'm from like the Chicago area. Like I've seen big rats, but like I was like, no, that's too big.
It was like Compton big.
I can ride
like,
that thing.
That's a pony-sized rat.
They get bigger, Ray. They get bigger.
Oh,
They do
God.
get bigger. Oh my god. Oh my god. All right. My second boss was the last boss on Dante's Inferno. Dante's Inferno. I was really kind of apprehensive about playing it at first because to me it looked like a God of War ripoff. It was kind of, I think this was before the 3rd God of War came out, and they were kind of like, in my mind, it was kind of like, oh, this will tide you over until the next God of War comes over. Play this. And I played it, and it was a lot of fun. It was really good. You know, you played this smaller guy with a giant scythe, and you fought giant bosses, very God of War-ish like. But
some are really gross.
Some of them were really gross,
like
but it was
woman. That's the one. I
oh my god! Oh my god! Yeah, I think some females like literally, and I'm
You don't
not
have to
kidding
go
about
into
it. There were parts of them that were fighting you that weren't made for fighting. I'll say it like that. And I didn't realize that until I looked carefully. I'm like, wow, that just attacked me. That's really bad. But you went through what was it, the 7 or 9 circles of hell, and each level, yeah, it was like each level had like a group of enemies that were conducive to that sin, and then by the time you got to the end, it was it was the devil himself. And you fought the devil in his first form, and he was basically like this big giant head. And he was throwing like whirlwinds at
like
you and
Andros?
stuff. Like something like that. And then you beat him, and he's like, "Ah, sucker, you freed me. Now you really got to fight me." And then he came down, and he was fighting you, and he was like this big, hooved animal, but he stood on 2 feet, 2 hooves, and he had the big horn sticking out, and his lifeline just doesn't move. Like, I remember just consistently pounding on him for like a half an hour, just like, and it just, lifeline just barely went down. I'm like, what is the purpose of this?
No, you know what the problem was, Chaz, is you didn't take your lesson from Tenacious D and you didn't beat him with the power of rock.
That must have been it.
You didn't whip out the awesome guitar solo and just defeat him.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
That must have been it. Um, Great game. There was a lot of nudity in that game, and the devil happened to be nude too, which was very distracting. That might have been why he was so hard to kill. I'm like, I can't kill you with that thing flapping around. Like
Oh
what?
my god.
Let's just say it wasn't his lifeline you were looking at.
Yeah, it's a really big lifeline. So I thought maybe that was his weak spot, but it wasn't. Apparently, that's just to distract you.
See, that should have been his weak
Sweet
spot, because that's everybody's weak spot.
Yeah, apparently not the Devil's. That was his
Apparently
strong
not.
spot. Holy smokes. So, after much gnashing of teeth and like 12 hours of rage quitting, I finally beat the douchebag, and that was that. It was a very anticlimactic ending too. I think you were naked, and the devil turned into a snake, and you got your girlfriend back, but not really.
Was this made by the makers of True Blood? Like, did someone go, everybody should be naked in this game? Everybody.
I don't know. That happened. So I don't really know what happened at the end, but I beat him. That's all I care about.
Yeah.
And then my third game. What was the third thing? What was it?
It's the Four Kings of Dark Souls.
Right, the Four Kings of Dark Souls, which I think I alluded to earlier.
You did.
Honestly, the Ninja Gaiden Sigma bosses were probably harder, but in comparison to the way your character could move, because in Ninja Gaiden, you move like a ninja. So you were, attacking and getting attacked by blazing fast attacks by these bosses, and you could move very quickly. So in comparison, it was about the same. But in the Four Kings of the last bosses in the Dark Souls game, you couldn't move as fast. And me, I felt like a tank most of the time because I had all this heavy armor on. I just want to go in there and clobber in time. And I couldn't move very fast. So I felt like a big target just taking the smackdown from these Four Kings. And then it was dark, so you can see them at all times. And they'd come out and slap you in the face and say, I'm not really behind you, you suck. And I never could fight them with other people. For some reason, whenever I got there, no one was there to help me. So I had to end up killing all four of them myself. I don't know how. I think I just cried, and they were like, this guy's a punk. Let's just leave, guys. Let's go. That's how it happened. I honestly don't remember how I beat them.
The Four Kings, it starts as the first king, you fight him for a while, and then after a time limit, the second one spawns, so you kind of have to keep killing them, or else you can get up to, I think you can fight up to 5 kings.
Seriously?
You can fight as little as 3 kings if you do enough damage, or you can fight up to 5 kings if you don't. But I don't know if there's a limit on to how many spawn at once, but yeah, it's kind of one of those things where it's just like pressured by time.
I think I just jacked up my character. Like I went back and upped my character a lot more, and that to me was like the Rocky workout theme. Like I went back, was like bench pressing. There was like the Rocky music playing. I was like swinging my sword around the top of the mountain.
Run up to the top of the mountain. 4 Kings!
It's like boxing gloves on with my night gear on, and then came back and won. So
it's like, but it's like the Family Guy montage. It's like, oh man, maybe we should have probably studied and stopped working out.
Maybe I should have actually swung around a weapon instead of using boxing gloves. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
All right, Matt. What are your top 3?
Oh, my top 3 hardest bosses that I could think of, anyways, are. It's hard. These aren't in any particular order for me, but the first one I thought of was the Reaper Squad Leader, final boss from Armored Core Verdict Day.
Oh my
god!
The
most recent Armored Core game.
Oh
if you go in with someone else, like another human being, it's not really that difficult, as long as you know what you're doing, like have the right damage types and stuff. But if you go in alone, even if you know all this stuff and like have a decent build, it's still very difficult because he just moves really fast. He's invulnerable half the time, basically.
Or you can use a unmanned mech or an unmanned armor core. which is what I did.
Chaz used a UNAC
Yeah,
to
that's what they're
sponge
going.
bullets.
I left my mech behind and ran full speed at it with my fist.
Well, you can eject and have your jetpack and your little assault rifle.
Your little
Pew,
pilot
pew,
guy.
pew.
Pew! You're dead. Pew.
Gotcha.
Yeah, my UNAC was going crazy on that thing too.
Really?
It's like, dang man,
Did you like program that thing? I could never
did.
figure out how to program those things very
I
well.
spent hours programming that thing, and it was just unstoppable. It was just I didn't have to do anything. I just I was like, yes, my pretty,
Unleash the Kraken.
release the Kraken.
So yeah, that guy was difficult and kind of anticlimactic, which was a little unfortunate. But
He sounded cool.
he did sound cool. He looked cool too. He looked
did.
like super Gundam-y, which
Yeah,
isn't really that common in that game.
right. Like, where did he come from?
I don't know.
Yeah.
But
He's a transformer too.
yeah, he was like a jet, and then he turned into like a mech.
Yeah.
and It was really strange.
He intimidated me right away.
Yeah, it's like, oh no, I can't transform.
Like Starscream?
I'm nothing. I'm a piece of crap compared to this guy.
But yeah, my next one that came to mind was the Belfry Gargoyles from Dark Souls 2, which is quite a contrast from the gargoyles from the first one because there's only 2 of them in that one. But in Dark Souls 2, you like walk onto this roof and I think there's 10 statues of gargoyles lining the sides, and right off the bat, 2 of them come alive. So you're immediately fighting 2 of them. They're a lot smaller, and I don't know if they're quicker, but they still have all like the fire attacks, like the diving attacks, and the axes too. So you're immediately defending against that. It's hard to keep track of both of them. But then, if you don't kill them in time, like another one will spawn really quick.
Oh, fudge.
So a lot of the time I found myself fighting 3 right in the beginning. And then eventually you could get up to like, I think 6 gargoyles. That never happened to me because I was either dead or had beaten them by then. But I think you get 6 at one time, which is just mind-boggling to me.
That's like a rave party up there.
Yeah, that's like the definition of gank boss. I'm not into that.
Can you chop off their tail and get weapons like you could in the first Dark Souls?
No, the gargoyle tail axe does not exist in that game.
This is a really crappy
Well, I'm quitting.
weapon too.
Yeah, and like they're optional too, which is weird because there's something that you unlock when you kill them, when you get behind them and like go through the boss door. There's like a key that you get for another part of that same area that will make like the main boss of the whole area a little easier. But it's not worth it because that main boss is a lot easier to beat, even if it's still like dark inside, which like to make it easier you like turn the lights on, kind of blind it, and it gets a little slower.
In Dark Souls 2?
Yeah, Dark Souls 2.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you can turn the lights on and it'll get a little slower and you can see a little further into the darkness, but it's still easier to beat that boss in the darkness than it is to beat these gargoyles and get the key and go on. But that was a really, really frustrating time.
Before you do your third one, Matt,
Yeah.
I almost put this guy on my list, but the reason I didn't was because I was afraid you would give me crap for it because I was afraid you were going to be like, oh, this guy was easy. So I'm at least relieved to know that you struggled with him too, but go ahead.
You should have heard me fighting him. It was not pretty in here. But, yeah, my third one is Beerus and Whis from Dragon Ball Xenoverse, the new PS4 game.
Yeah.
But it's just like it's a boss battle with 2 bosses, Beerus and Whis. Beerus is a cat, which makes it kind of goofy right away.
Yeah.
But usually when you like punch someone in this game, they kind of stun and you can combo them. Beerus and Whis do not get stunned at all unless you somehow get behind them. They'll maybe stun for a few hits.
Yeah.
Um,
Dang.
but yeah, they
And
don't
then-
they don't take stuns.
And you're pretty much by yourself because your teammates are useless.
Yeah, you can't bring any like human companions. You just have Trunks, which he gets killed in the first 2 minutes, and you are still
Yeah,
stuck fighting these two.
Thanks, Trunks.
Yeah.
Basically, what I had to do to beat them was kind of just fly backwards and use like the little air dash, and shoot them with my Kai blasts, which is the long range energy abilities. Because you couldn't really melee them without them just like stunning you and destroying 3/4 of your
Wrecked you
health bar.
every time. The way I ended up beating them was I would fly around and wait till I got enough energy to go Super Saiyan, and I would just fly right up to him and hit him like because when you're Super Saiyan you can use your ultimate attack until your bar dwindles down. So I used like 7 ultimate attacks on them, and that was what I had to do is I just had to keep avoiding them until I could go Super Saiyan and then use my ultimate attack. That was the only way I was able to beat them.
My ultimates would never go off on them because they're either always like too close or they just teleported behind me.
Yeah.
And I always missed.
Yeah, my ultimate attack was one. It's just that one where you shoot a bunch of energy blasts at them, and they would block the first like 2 or 3, but then it would eventually one would catch them off guard, and I would get like a 17 hit combo on them.
Yeah.
So.
But yeah, those really frustrating. I finally beat them and like had to put down the game for a few hours.
Exactly what I did.
Just like cool off.
Done.
I think they were harder than the actual main boss. Like the main boss had one part that was tough, but I think they were the toughest part of the game.
I think so too. Yeah.
All right, so my choices here. My first one is Mike Tyson from Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. When you're playing Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, even if you're not the best player, you can get a couple good shots in. Even once you get all the way up to like the person right before Mike Tyson, you can get maybe 2 or 3 shots in before they knock you out. Mike Tyson, I still have never beat him to this day. I've never been able to beat him. You get up to him and just one punch and you drop. You're down. Like that's it. One punch. And like you can get back up and go at him again, but like if you get hit 3 times by him, it's a TKO. It's automatic. Like you're done. So to me, he's probably one of the toughest bosses in any game, honestly, because same thing when I was doing research for this top 10 list, he made, just like Dark Souls made every top 10 hardest games, he made every top 10 hardest boss. So it's not just me out here. He was ridiculously hard.
This is Iron Mike we're talking about here.
Iron Mike. Yeah, you could tell that, like, in his, like, he was like, yeah, you can use my likeness, but I need to be able to knock everyone out with one punch.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
At least he didn't maim you by biting your ear off something.
He did. That was the next step.
Is that like your finishing animation? He just rips your ear off.
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh god, this game is terrible.
My next one. I know Matt's played this. The Elite Four from the original Pokemon Red, and I guess Fire Red, but they were tough. Up until this point, whenever you have a gym battle, if you lose, you can always go heal and try again. But with the Elite Four, it's 4 basically gym battles, all one after the other, and there's no healing in between. Like you can have health items, but even if you beat one person, it's like, and sometimes when you have a gym battle, you could barely beat the guy and just like have a sliver of health left and win in the end, and then you're like, yeah, I did it, and you can go heal yourself and be done. But with this, you get that one person beat, and you have a slither of health left, and you're stuck against 3 more people with just that amount of health. There's no healing in between. You have to use items, and it was tough. I mean, as a kid, even to this day, like I have Fire Red version, and it's still one of the toughest parts of the game. I know Matt said that he would choose Red as one of his tough bosses, but to this day I still think the Elite Four is one of the tougher bosses in that entire game.
I mean, I would choose him as like a hard Pokemon boss. I wouldn't choose him as like hardest boss.
No, I meant Yeah, I meant Pokemon.
Okay.
But no, like I still think the Elite Four is like in classic gaming at least. I think he's one of they're one of the toughest.
I think
boss battles.
the part of the Elite Four that gets you the most is fighting Gary after you've
Yeah.
the whole Elite Four, and that's just another fight.
Yeah, I know.
Another.
Especially after Lance, because Lance is the toughest one. He's got Dragonite, and he just destroys you, and you're like, you barely survive. You're like, oh, I did it. I beat all 4. What do you mean there's a 5th fight? What? Like, it's bad.
Yep.
And that's the thing. It's not, and there's no save in between. Like, if you lose, you can't go back and start from, like, number 2. You start from the very beginning every time. It's just ridiculous. And then my final one. Did you have something you wanted to say? You looked like you were going to add something.
He was just giggling.
He was just giggling.
I was just who me?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I was just giggling.
Okay.
I'm just sitting back and watching.
Oh. My final choice was Final Form Saren from Mass Effect. Just because not only is it a matter of he's tough, but it's like you don't expect it because you go up and fight Saren, and the first fight's pretty easy. You're like, oh, hey, that wasn't hard at all. Woo, game's over. Awesome. Then the Reapers, like, basically, like, if anyone's played Mass Effect, they know what I'm talking about. The Reapers basically like enhanced him, and he becomes almost like in the Geth term. I can't believe what's the name of the Geth one that jumps around, Matt? You probably don't remember.
Oh, yeah, I don't remember. Gecko or something.
Something like that. He's basically like a frog. Like, he can hop from, like, wall to wall to ceiling, and he's incredibly fast, so you can't ever get a chance to lock onto him, and then he'll jump, like, right as you go to shoot him, he'll jump, you'll miss your shot, and he'll be on the other wall, and then he'll shoot you. And it's just, if you play it on anything other than easy, like, even on easy, it's hard. It's really hard, but anything above that, like, it's almost guaranteed you're gonna die a couple times. He's tough. You gotta get used to his jumping pattern before you can finally beat him. So that was my final choice.
Mm-hmm.
Dang.
And then yeah, Chaz didn't know anything about my last two choices, so he just sits there and comments.
Dang.
Dang, man, that's rough. So then our top 10, or our last one, it's kind of a cop-out, but I think we can all agree that the hardest boss in any game ever is glitches. I mean, it's kind of a cop-out because it's not truly a boss, but
it is a boss.
Nothing defeats you both physically and mentally more than like getting really far in a game and having a glitch kind of get you stuck. Like Chaz and I had that issue with Bloodwing and Borderlands, where we had been fighting this thing and fighting this thing and fighting this thing, and it just happened to, I don't remember how it happened. Somehow we got screwed up and we got locked out of the arena. Oh, that's what it was. We died. And thinking normally, oh, we can just restart and start the fight again. Well, something happened to the game, and it restarted us as if we were already in the battle with Bloodwing. So the area where you get to him is locked, and you can't get in there. And we even restarted the game and went back in, and we could not get in again.
Yeah,
so,
in the distance, you could see Bloodwing flying around in the arena. Which we're tempted to shoot at him, but he revives himself. He like regenerates if you do that, so it's impossible to kill him.
So that was it was Borderlands 1. So we never beat it because that's as far as or was it Borderlands 2?
It was 2.
It was 2. So yeah, we never beat it. We couldn't get past that, and we put the game down and never tried it again.
Yeah, I went back and beat it myself just because I like playing as Zero.
Oh, but, thanks for not including me.
Hey,
cool.
you never joined me, so what can I say? Actually, that was one of my bosses. You could have enjoyed one of the bosses that I actually had on my list, but I didn't keep it up there because you didn't know what I was talking about.
Well, thanks a lot for that. And then the other glitch we had was with Little Big Planet 3. I mean, we've already talked about all the glitches that one has, but there was one time we were like in the final, I think it was like the final fight, and it would start us off, and like it would start us off like there's a little platform you had to be on, and you were like running from this giant machine coming at you, and the game would start, and it started us not on the platform, it started us off to the side, and we immediately fell and died. And then it kept doing that. Like the spawn point was there. Like we would die, then we'd spawn again, fall and die, spawn again, fall and die, and it just like it was a major.
At a certain point, it just spawned me in, and Ray wouldn't get spawned in. I was the only one who could beat the level because Ray couldn't
I never
come
got to
in.
beat it because it just would never spawn me. So we kept trying to restart it, and finally, after spawning both of us off to the side, spawning only him, I was like, dude, just beat it, just go. Like,
so I had to beat it on my own. This is why I don't feel like it's a cop-out to include glitches, because the definition of a boss pretty much is like the higher level enemy that you fight that supersedes the rest of the lower enemies, right? So. Yeah. For the glitches, especially in like Little Big Planet 3, the glitches in this game are like an omnipotent being that just appears when you don't want it to be there, and it's practically like you got to figure out how to beat it somehow.
Yeah, so it truly is a boss.
Yeah, it really is a boss. One of my favorite glitches. This is back in the PlayStation 1 era. Me and my uncle used to play this game called Star Wars Jedi Power Battles. And you played as these Jedi, but the game mechanics were just ridiculous. But it was so much fun because you only had a lightsaber, you didn't have any other weapons, and you could play up to 2 players. And you would run through and you'd fight enemies with your lightsaber and just like literally beat them over the head. It's like they weren't lightsabers. It's like they were just baseball bats, and you were just smacking people across the level. It was awesome. And at the end of the level, you fought Darth Maul, and it's just Darth Maul. He comes out there and he's like fighting both of you. You're supposed to beat him, whatever. So we got killed and we started the level over and we went in, and lo and behold, 2 Darth Mauls spawned, and one of them was completely retarded. Like he couldn't do anything. He was just stupid. Like he kept running at me, and like he'd get up there and it's like he didn't know how to fight. And my uncle had him. He was beating the tar out of him. I had the real Darth Maul, and he was beating the crap out of me, just throwing me up in the air, like booting me down in holes, like kicking me in the walls and stuff. Like it was ridiculous. It was the most unique glitch I've ever seen.
He was Darth Maul's brother, Bill Maul.
Hey, what's going on, y'all?
I'm not really a Jedi, but me and my bro, we don't get to hang out that often, so I just wanted to be here and support him.
It wasn't a real lightsaber either. It was a flashlight.
Click it. Do you have any game-breaking glitches that ruined your game, Matt?
One comes to mind right now. It's more Dark Souls. So
during your 2,000 hours.
It's a big part of my life. Okay.
2,000 hours worth.
But there's this boss in Dark Souls in the forest where you like climb this little tower and you walk into a boss battle, and it's just this long straight bridge. And there's this moonlight, it's called the Moonlight Butterfly, and it flies down from the taller piece of the castle, and it's like attacking you on this bridge. And so I'm running back and forth on the bridge, dodging its little magic beams and hitting it when it lands. And then as I'm hitting it, it raises like it normally would back in the air to shoot more beams at you. But all of a sudden it just starts like flying backwards. And I'm like, this was one of the first times I'd fought it. I hadn't fought it too many times. I'm like, is this part of the fight? But it just kept flying backwards, and eventually it just flew off across the mountains, over the forest, and it was gone.
It flew off into the sunset.
And I was like, what in the world am I supposed to do? Is this supposed to happen? This can't be possible. So I'm standing on this bridge for like a half hour just waiting. Like, all right.
Back. Matt's leaving him voicemails and stuff.
Man. And then once I finally was like, okay, this isn't supposed to happen, this is a glitch, I couldn't figure out how to get out of the boss room. Because you can't, like, you came in.
It was like, it's the opposite of us. We couldn't figure out how to get back in the boss room.
Oh, man. Eventually, I figured out that I could just like homeward bone. You can also quit too. That'll take you out of the boss fight. But I homeward bone back to a bonfire. But yeah, that's kind of frustrating because the run getting there is not the most fun, especially if
yeah.
you don't know where all the enemies are, because they'll like wake up and like start attacking you and stuff. And some look like
I just
trees.
picture Matt standing there like this. Is it? Where'd it go? What? What?
Oh, yeah. Matt's calling him and leaving him voice messages. Where you going? When you coming back? No.
Hey there. Hey, just wondering when you're gonna come back and finish this boss battle.
Yeah. That must have been frustrating.
Yeah, I feel comfortable adding glitches to the list. I mean, they like you said, they are tough.
I am convinced that glitches are like an omnipotent boss that just goes from game to game, making your life miserable.
Just one guy.
It's an entity.
It's an actual
around.
entity. Like, it has a final form that we're probably going to see in like 6 more generations.
Like, it's almost if like an omnipotent orb went into the games. Wait a minute. Matt. We found his secret out.
Away!
He just disappeared.
So when he glitched himself out?
I have something to say about that. There we go.
Mog.
Deal with it.
I'm broken. You broke my heart, Matt. You broke my heart.
Well, guys, that's our top 10 hardest bosses and hardest games. We have a list of more top 10s that we're going to be doing in the future. And just so you're aware, we have one viewer.
Oh, no. Is it you?
I don't know who it is. It's not me. I don't know who it is. Is it one of you guys? Did you guys leave the window open?
Window open.
We have a legitimate viewer then.
What if it's someone big like PewDiePie? And he's just like, I love sitting back and watching these guys.
It's so fun.
Oh my god.
I don't know, man, but to whoever that one legitimate viewer is, we love you. You make this worth doing. Not really. We would still do it with no viewers. We're just 3 guys.
Don't say that.
Don't hurt his
Oh crap! He left.
We're down again, guys. Sorry.
Oh man, now we're negative. But no, thank you for your viewing patronage. I don't know. Is that? I mean, that's
sure. Why not?
Is that
Terrible host.
Is that a word?
God dang it! This again.
Those are both words. I don't know if they're used right.
Whoa, is used a word?
No.
Okay,
Oh,
we're
okay.
out.
All right. Well, guys, for G.E.L Podcast, I'm Ray Emling. That's Chaz Lewis, and that's the all-seeing orb, Matt Guilford.
Why don't you pulse it a little for us, Matt?
Pulse it a little bit. Oh, it's beautiful.
I can feel his radiating power.
Give us some knowledge. Well, I would say have a good night, everybody, but it's actually daytime when we're recording this, so have a good afternoon, everybody.